Hey, it's Craig with RV Road Ramblers here. Nicole's behind the camera as always, our master photographer and videographer. And today we are actually down in Death Valley National Park. We've been wintering down here doing a work camping assignment for Xanterra Parks. And it's a great place to spend the winter. And anyway, we've trying to build up some videos for our channel, and we thought we'd try something new. Actually, I've got Jake Lee here, one of our working companions that we work with down here in this park, and he mentioned the other day the idea of maybe doing a little interview talking about what the life of a parkie is, or to work in the parks. And so he came over here today and we thought, well, let's give it a shot. And so
yeah,
Jake, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here, Craig.
Right on. What can you tell us about this parkie business? What is a parkie, by the way?
They do, there's two different seasons in the parks. There's summer season and winter season. Depending on, if you like the cold weather, there's a few parks that you work in the cold. Otherwise, the people that work in the north, well, we come to the south for the winter where it's warmer.
Like the snowbirds.
Yes. Because Yellowstone, I think, is, about 35 right now? Maybe not even that. And we're, 75 here today?
Now, have you done a summer here?
Yeah.
And what's it like to do a summer in?
Hot.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had when I was here was the second year in a row that July was the hottest summer in the world here.
So how hot are we talking about?
I saw 131 was the hottest day.
Too hot for me.
Which is why we don't stick around.
No, I did one summer here just to say I was going to do it, and I was like, no, I'm done. No more summers for me.
You know what impresses me is, there's a row of RVs here. That
I say there's, two sides here, and then there's one going this way.
Yeah. Now this is our second year, our second winter down here, second season during the winter season. It's the only time we come down, and we left by May last time. So we were.
That's about when I usually leave too.
In May, we had spent a week at about 100 degrees or better.
You're probably going to see that earlier this year because they're talking 80s by this weekend.
Yeah.
Mid 80s.
So it's hard for me to imagine being in an RV. A lot of people that watch our channel are RVers, and they're just like little tin cans. They're just not very well insulated.
Yeah. Well, and if you look, because these ones that are behind us are ones that are here year-round, whereas the ones that are going this way with you guys are ones that leave.
These are the seasonal, temporary guys.
These are the ones that leave in the summertime. But if you look, like if you go down these rows and you look, a lot of the guys, they'll have like canopies over top of their trailers.
I've seen those.
That'll help keep them cooler, and they've got not just the main unit of the trailer, but they'll have the air condition, the window units that they mounted inside in the trailers themselves.
So you got extra air conditioning power or whatever.
Yeah,
you'd have to have.
But you have to be careful with the power though, because you don't want to blow the breakers out either.
All right.
So you'd have to hook directly up to the pole instead of hooking to your trailer itself.
Wow. Well, so it's a great place for RVers if you're looking for temporary work. But there's a core of people that come in, and that would be more your parkies, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
They park up, they go, like they would go to Yellowstone or Glacier up north in the summertime, where it's a whole lot cooler, where it's like 70s, 80s.
So have you worked other parks besides Death Valley?
I've worked in Yellowstone too.
Did you? Okay.
I did 2.5 summers up at Lake Yellowstone, the hotel.
How'd you like that?
I loved it.
Yeah?
And then, of course, I visited there's like 7 different areas that you can work at there in Yellowstone. The 3 summers that I was there, I worked at Lake. Of course, I visited all the other ones. Of course, you got Old Faithful, but that's actually more commercialized anymore than anything.
Oh, yeah?
Just because of,
Old Faithful, that's
the Old Faithful guys are.
Now are you talking about the hotel there, or what? When you say you work at Old Faithful? I've heard people talk.
I haven't worked at Old Faithful. There's people that do.
Yeah, so because I've been through the park in Yellowstone, but I haven't dialed into like the working environment there. Nicole and I have worked at Crater Lake, by the way, for the same company, for Xanterra. We worked at Crater Lake before we came down here. Now we've done 2 seasons here, so that's 3 total seasons. But I'd been through Yellowstone, but not worked there, so I don't know what Like you said, there's like what, 7 villages or?
Yeah, I believe there's 7 because there's Mammoth, Roosevelt, Canyon, Old Faithful, Grant, and then Lake. Lake's got 2 different in one.
And so as you label, those are all hotels or?
Yeah,
Okay.
they've got different places to stay. Like Roosevelt's more rustic. Like they've got wagon rides, like the old cowboy days. They have the covered wagons and stuff, and they'll actually go out and cook over campfires.
Awesome.
Of course, Old Faithful, you got Old Faithful Geyser and the North Geyser Basin a little ways away from there. Grant Village has got West Thumb right there. It's got some thermal features and stuff, and you're right on the corner of the lake. And of course, Lake is on the lake.
Yeah.
Then Canyon, it's right there by, what do you call it? The great waterfall, the Yellowstone there. I can't think of the name of the waterfall right now.
I can't either. Is there just one?
There's an upper and a lower.
Is that
But
the
they're
one?
right there.
Probably the one we saw too. I can't remember the name of that either. But I guess what I was shooting for is, because I think, if I'm going to assume I probably have all kinds of people watching, but when it comes to working in the parks, I know that Nicole and I, up until we started looking for work, it just never occurred to me that that was like an option.
Yeah.
And then when it did become an option, it went even further because I was like, well, I wonder what all kinds of jobs are available. What
And
what do you-
Xanterra actually own, well, this property that we're on, actually, they own this property itself.
Okay.
Stovepipe Well is like 20 miles down the road. They used to own that one, but then they gave that contract up to, I believe it's Ortega.
It's another company, Ortega.
Yeah. And then, so they gave that one up. And now that's NPS controlled, where this isn't NPS controlled. Yellowstone is NPS controlled, which they have to do contracts and everything through, and they have to do all, like if they want to do remodeling and everything, they have to go through them.
Right.
Whereas down here, they can just do it themselves. They don't have to go through, they do have to go through NPS and stuff for like water rights and things like that.
So if I know what you're talking, I think what you're describing is the relationship of what they call a concessionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So in some of the parks, NPS has like full, I don't want to say designation, but control over the park.
Mm-hmm.
And as a concessionaire, they come in kind of under an agreement with NPS.
And they have to do a certain amount of renovations each year as well.
Right. So going back to like jobs, like for instance, you said you worked at Yellowstone, and then now you're working here, and here you work in the what they call it the commissary.
Right.
So
it's a warehouse. Like they deliver all the food and stuff to the kitchens and supplies, different supplies. Even to you guys, like golf course maintenance, would deliver stuff out to you guys and whatever.
yeah, so you're like the central hub for delivery of products
And there's tons and tons of different jobs in the parks. There's housekeeping. There's these guys are landscaping, golf course maintenance, and tons.
definitely. Just to try, I'm going to try and rattle off a few, and but definitely, because here we got several restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
So we got
we got food and
your
beverage.
front of house and back of house. You got all your cooks, your dishwashers, and so on.
Servers, server assistants, bartenders, hosts.
Yep.
I mean,
And then we have
we could go on and on.
We have retail shops here, so we got people working in retail.
We even have
we've
our own
got-
post office here.
that
do have
is,
a post
and that's actually through USPS itself. That's not Xanterra controlled. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so that wouldn't be something you could hire on necessarily.
You just have to go through the government.
Okay.
If
So-
they're hiring, which I don't believe they're hiring down here right now.
And we got a ton of housekeeping jobs because we have all these rooms all over the place here.
Yep. Yeah, because this one actually has 2 properties. Remember, because you got down here at the ranch and then up there at the inn.
Right.
And there's, with the new rooms that they're building, I think we're gonna have 360 rooms.
That's a lot of rooms. It's a lot of beds.
Yeah. So they definitely,
beds.
housekeeping is definitely a major.
Plus you got there's the laundry service here even. I mean, I know we send a lot of laundry out.
We say we outsource it, but
And then there's we have what they call FLS, fire, light, and safety,
the
which
security.
is like security, and And
with that,
with the fire brigade.
right, the fire
We're on
brigade,
the fire brigade together.
which they'll be, I'm sure they've got pictures of that from the other day and stuff. So.
Then you've got all your engineering jobs.
Yep.
Plumbers, electricians,
Yeah,
carpenters.
it's like carpenters, yep. Just general maintenance.
General maintenance. I mean, it's just I guess the point is,
and there's also
there's
the
a job for everyone. Is it safe to say that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Accounting,
No.
yeah.
Administration, accounting, yeah. HR.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now, one other thing I noticed is, I mean, you've got across the board, there's a lot of age groups here.
Yes.
All right, and that impressed me because I when I first came, I thought, I mean, the faces that I seemed to notice first when I used to visit the parks more as a visitor, is it seemed like just a lot of young kids, they're out here, college age kids or whatever, young adults, but now that we've spent some time here, I mean, there's all age groups here.
And I say there's people. I've been here off and on since 2016. This is now 2020. There's several people. I've seen people here from a week ago till and they've been here for 30 plus years.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
So, with there being so many kids and all that, young adults, and the older ones understand it, but I think I'm wondering, like when we were coming in, I kept wondering, what kind of experience do you have? I mean, do you have to have like a ton of experience in this particular field in order to get?
They will train you in anything.
So you got a desire.
If you got a desire to work and you want to work, by all means, apply.
Yeah, you think it's so you'd say it's easy to kind of get in.
Absolutely.
If you really want to.
Absolutely.
And
as long as you pass the background check and drug test,
you're good to go.
By all means, come work to the parks. And even the young guys, people that don't have family. I'm not saying you won't have families, but right now, if you don't have families or anything like that, I've been doing this off and on for 5 years. I'm having the best time of my life. I don't have a family, don't have kids. Best time of my life.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell us a little bit more. I want to go into that a little bit. I've got kids. I'm not sure, exactly what your age is, but I feel like I have kids that are close to your age. Right? I don't want to reveal my age either.
Right.
But I keep thinking, and I've voiced my, expressed my opinion about it, but I really feel like most of them would really, really enjoy being out here.
And it's all about perspective.
Let's explain that.
Like you and me, we've obviously done this for a couple of years. Somebody that's just coming in, they're going to be nervous as heck. They want to do it, but yet at the same time, they're so nervous that they might get themselves too worked up. Don't get yourself worked up.
What do you think the apprehension is? What can we tell them here right now?
Going away from your family.
Yes.
Leaving your family back behind. You and I were talking about that earlier with you and your kids back home.
Yep.
So,
yep.
that's the hardest part. But if you do your work, we've got internet out here when it works. By all means, when you have downtime, call your family back home.
Yeah.
FaceTime with them as long as the internet works, which it should. Call your family back home. Don't.
Well, I keep thinking,
don't shut them out.
You got a family member that lives in a national park. I mean, there's a ticket right there to go visit.
Absolutely.
Yep. Another thing I noticed, and Nicole's right off camera, I think, but so you can chime in if you want. You can be a voice in the conversation. But one thing, I mean, living in a national park.
It's the best thing I ever did.
When we used to visit the parks, we used to go and we'd only be there for a couple of days, and we'd rush around and try to see each major attraction that's advertised. And what we noticed was that, and I want to get your thoughts on that, but being there, and especially for the length of time that we usually stay, we found, because suddenly it's like there's a real feeling in the park that exists that you can't really get unless you live there day in and day out, and you experience all those different days.
Yeah,
together.
there's like a zen.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Exactly.
It cleanses you because I've been here this time for about 5 months now. So relaxed. When I
Yeah.
first got here, I was all tensed up and everything from being in the real world, because I was in the real world for a little while. Now I came back, being away from everything, it's just like, man, it feels so much better.
I know exactly. We've had that. Nicole and I have had that conversation that there's like almost like an energy vibration. I don't get too weird with my language, but that exists out there. We call it the real world.
Yeah, we felt the railroad too.
And we even feel it. And so when we have now we've spent more time like in the national parks or in nature and what have you, that it's like you calm down to a lower frequency.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
no,
you go,
I
wow.
totally agree. Totally agree with that.
And then we drive in. Every once in a while we got to make a trip into town and get groceries
Yeah.
or something.
I go to Walmart. I'm like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. I go.
It really does open your eyes, doesn't it?
It does. I think the other thing I like about Xanterra too is it also encourages you to jump parks. So to see the world. So
Yep.
Xanterra owns parks, all over.
I was gonna say, I don't know exactly how many it is offhand, but there's quite a few.
A few of those tours, they have like a bicycle tour, and then they also have the cruise ship.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and so
forgot
I
it's
mean,
cruise
there's
ship
so many different things you can go and experience, through the same company.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
so the cool thing with that is you get the opportunity to change location. The company actually seems to be pretty open, from what I can tell, about transfers. Matter of fact, it seems like they would almost prefer if you're going to leave a park. I remember when we left Crater, that they came to us. They had us do like a survey about what our experience was there.
Yep.
And then they
They
asked
are
us,
always trying to make things better for the employees.
yeah, and they
Granted,
asked
it
us if we would be
takes-
interested in going to another park. It was like don't leave. We'd like for you to stick around.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you have opportunities. The other thing too is that if you, let's say there's only certain jobs available here at this particular location.
That may not be the case somewhere else.
Yeah.
In a different park. Like, let's say we were talking about Grand Canyon earlier. There's tons of different, because they have the Grand Canyon Railroad and everything down there too, and 3 or 4 different hotels on each end of the railroad. There's tons of jobs.
So it just seems like, again, if you're flexible too with doing different jobs, that was another thing that Nicole and I, we didn't expect but realized, is that it's given us the opportunity, because I did some grounds maintenance, but this is at Crater, but I also, the season had a changeover where half of them, they closed the campground down, and they ended up going and closing that down, and a lot of those guys went on to different parks. They all moved out of there.
Right.
Because that's a seasonal park. And as opposed to this one actually operates year-round. So
Crater works year-round, but they only have to keep the Rim gift shop and the cafe.
yeah, they
open.
shrink it down to a very small crew.
Their skeleton crew.
But we got to go up to the Rim for a short period of time because we were willing to stay on. And they put us, now Nicole was working in retail, so she ended up retail up at the top too.
Okay.
And they put me in cafe.
Really?
So then I went from grounds to cafe.
So then you got kind of a different perspective, because then you went into food and beverage.
Exactly. So that's what I'm.
Yeah.
You start gaining experience in different.
Yeah, and see, when I started in 2015 with Xanterra up in Yellowstone, I'd worked housekeeping all the way through up until October of last year, and that's when I switched to commissary.
Oh wow.
Because-
That was right here?
Mhm.
Okay. What'd you do at Yellowstone, by the way?
Housekeeping.
Okay, housekeeping in
Yep,
Yellowstone.
Lake Hotel.
And you transferred down here doing housekeeping.
Yep,
And now you're in commissary. What do you like better?
commissary.
Commissary.
Hands down.
It looks. With Lido and
Carol.
Coral.
Coral.
HR.
Yeah,
That's another
Not
benefit.
food and beverage.
We get to ride golf carts around. All
Yes,
Yes.
and I get to drive trucks.
yeah, you get to drive big trucks around. Just trying to think, some of these questions that, thinking back to when we were getting started. Just some of the misconceptions, or the
Yeah.
people that don't know what it's like to be here.
Yep, exactly.
You get off work, like at home. I guess in the real world, you would, people go out and do things. You can do that here too.
Yeah, you can.
But you've also got, you're sitting right smack dab in the middle of the park, so if you like to hike.
You can leave here and you can be at any entrance of the park within 45 minutes.
And there's just, I mean, there's trails. We can walk right out, we can walk right from this and hit a trail.
Yeah. So there's a place in the fence just down there. You walk out, you're in the middle of the desert.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I think the other thing that's kind of nice is it seems to draw a lot of like-minded people. You know, so if you're struggling finding a place to fit in, and your heart is drawing you to the nature, to outside, that you can find a lot of people that are like-minded like you here.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah.
I noticed that there's kind of a commonality or thread that runs through. Everybody kind of thinks organically, for one. I mean, there's that whole thing about, they're tied to nature. It seems like a lot of them have a sense. We do a recycling program here.
Yep.
Most of the parks have a recycling.
I say most of them do, yeah. This one's a little bit different in the way they do it, but they still do it.
And they all seem to enjoy the traveling thing. So yeah, there's camaraderie. Almost, it builds like a family.
Yeah. Yep, I mean, there's, like I was saying last night, me and a bunch of people were sitting outside our room just kicking back, talking, listening to music, having a few cocktails, whatever.
Yeah. Now, another thing, a lot of these are just observations. That's a wild man.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
That was a lost guess.
Clearly. Hey, we have those around here too.
Is one of the things we noticed, and we noticed it right off the bat in Crater, because we would kind of join with some of the groups that would get together and have little bonfires at night and stuff, and get together and sit
We've
around.
done that here a few times too.
Yeah.
We need to do that again.
And one of the things I noticed is people, when they start to gather, a lot of the people know other people, have worked with them in other parks.
They can bring and pinch people together. We'll start a fire with 4 or 5 people. Next thing you know, 20, 30 people show up. We're out there till 2, 3 in the morning just talking. Making, meeting new friends.
But and I'm talking, so our neighbor, even last time we were here, drawing a blank now.
Mariella?
Mariella. Okay, and then we had a guy named Tom, and another guy named Kathy, and I'm just throwing out these names. See, and they're from Crater.
Yep.
Been at Yellowstone, had been to Grand Canyon. But they had worked together before.
I haven't
but
seen
then
Kathy
they
in forever,
found
now you say that.
themselves right here, and they just keep kind of bumping into each other. But then they might split up for a little while. And as the more time you spend here, the more connections you make, and it's just wild how this family thing reaches out, and they're all over the place. And I don't know, that's just a unique feature I think is just really cool.
It is. And then the internet keeps us all connected.
Yes.
So even when we're apart, we're together.
Yep, exactly.
So it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. And so here I wanted to, there's a couple things for people who want to onboard. Let's say, I mean, they can go to their website and fill out an application and stuff, but some things they may not realize, which is different from most jobs that are outside of the parks, is there different benefits that come.
Yep.
So the pay may not necessarily be.
It's not, it's going to be different state to state. This is actually one of the higher paid parks
here
because of the state because we're in California. It's one of the higher minimum wage areas.
So that will change depending on what state you're in. But then there's also, we noticed that the difference between Crater and here was they have different packages for the employees, and that they offer.
Yep.
And it kind of depends on what position you're in, I think, or
yeah, because management down here, they have a lot more perks, and they pay a little less for rent, which this is actually one of the cheaper parks for rent, whereas Yellowstone was, I think, one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive.
So maybe you can explain how that works, or what's the package that. I know it would change, so depending on what time you see this, the information about.
Right, and say it's probably going to be. Because I've already found out that from the last time I worked in Yellowstone until just this last summer, the rent has gone up significantly.
Is that right?
Yeah, because when I worked there, it was $412 a month, whereas I was just talking to another friend of mine, and they said it was going to be close to $500 for the summer, for the month.
And so that, all right, so it's $500 a month.
Or no,
what-
I think it's actually, it might be like 500 every 2 weeks out there, actually.
And where's this at?
Yellowstone.
Oh, in Yellowstone.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember what they said.
Now, what is it? You don't mind me asking? What, I mean, I know, and it's different between RV or if you're in an RV.
Right,
We have
right.
different rates than,
Yeah.
say,
Well, I
if
was
you're in a
saying,
dorm
you can talk
room.
about the RV rates. Where on my side, I live in the dorms, which a lot of them have dorm style housing, where management will have single status housing, to where they live by themselves or with their spouses or whatever. Which you can do that in the dorms too. But in the where I live in the dorms, it's $70 every 2 weeks, and then in July and August and the beginning of September, they drop it down to $35 every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. So it changes depending on the season.
You
Now,
get, you get free Wi-Fi.
that's per person
Mm-hmm.
that's living in there.
Yeah.
So each person is their own individual.
$140 a month. Where are you going to find that? You're not going to find
Right.
that anywhere.
Right.
So that bumps up your pay in a way if you look at it that way.
Absolutely.
Not only so do they give you a great living rate on housing, but there's also a food benefit.
Yep. Yeah, where breakfast and lunch is free, and then it's $4 a day for dinner.
That's
Not the greatest food, but when you're out in the middle of nowhere, what do you expect?
right. And it's been a decent. I mean, they got it's a buffet style is what we get.
Yep.
And it's made for you. You don't have to cook it.
No
Exactly.
dishes.
Yep, that's
No
even better.
dishes.
You don't have to store the food necessarily. You
Have to
know.
go
Yeah.
shopping for it.
Yep.
Um,
And Yellowstone's the same way, whereas you don't have to pay $4 a day for dinner up there. It's all paid for
is that right?
through the rent package and everything. But up there, you don't get cable in your room, whereas you get cable in your room down here.
Right.
In your
and
dorm room.
you get Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, yep. Whereas
Wi-Fi
I
through the
don't
park.
believe you had Wi-Fi up in Yellowstone.
So each park is different.
Mm-hmm.
So each park has its own package. I remember Crater was different in that its rates for RVs. And so, Nicole, you'll have to help me, but I think we're paying. We pay 90.
It was $35 or something every 2 weeks. But if you stayed for your full contract, you got half of it back.
That was Crater.
That was Crater.
Yeah,
but they
and
didn't
it's-
have any food benefits there. You got a discounted meals.
It was like $4 for breakfast and lunch and like $8 for dinner.
I don't
Something.
remember. I don't remember because we didn't eat there.
And I'm glad
Yeah.
you brought that up too, because in Yellowstone, I don't know if they still do it, but when I was there, they did a like a bonus on the end of your contract. If you finish your contract, you get an extra $3 a day for every day that you're there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, they tax it, but
But
Incentive to
it's
stay.
an incentive to stay, yeah.
Yep.
Now here we're paying. I want to say it's like $90.
$92 every 2 weeks. But that's just for the site, so that covers both of us.
For like $180 for the month.
$184.
Now we get full electric hookups with that, sewer and electric, and they also have their pay for the propane
Yes.
here. And we just found out this time, we didn't know this last time we were here, we wish we had known, but they hooked us up with a 100
Gallon
pound tank,
tank.
instead
yeah, I've
of,
heard a few people talking about that this time. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's something new that they're doing, because I don't remember hearing that.
yeah,
last
we
time
used to
people
have
were
to
here.
haul our little tanks down to the gas station on the corner, which is owned by the park, so I mean we used to go down there and they would fill our tanks for us. And, oh, it's not? The gas station?
That's us.
That's what, the Xanterra owns it.
Yeah, Xanterra.
Yeah. So we would go down there and they would fill our little tanks. We'd come back, but we'd have to go down there once a week or whatever and fill that thing up. Whereas this
Every
one,
other year.
they
They'll come in.
park the big tank and then the truck drives around. We don't even know he's really
Yep.
here, and he
Yeah,
pulls
so
right up,
he usually
fills
comes
it
about
up.
7 o'clock in the morning.
It is awesome. So we're just a service that. So where else
And you're
can
not
you
paying for
live
that,
for
are you?
100? No, it's part of the deal. So $180 a month. You got the food.
Laundry.
Oh,
Yeah,
laundry.
laundry's free.
Laundry's free.
You got laundry rooms here that you can use, and I mean, so that in and of itself is huge. So I mean, if you're smart about it, you could probably save up some money.
Oh yeah, you can easily save money here.
So that ties into another point. How critical is it that you have a vehicle?
I wouldn't say it's like super critical, because there's tons of other people that would have vehicles around here that you can bum a ride off of to town or whatever, because there's always somebody going into town.
Yeah.
Always somebody going into town. But it pretty much recommended that you try.
It'd be
to have a
nice.
vehicle. Yeah.
Obviously, to have
Because you know,
one.
if you want to go out and do something, you don't have to rely on somebody else. You can just jump in and go.
Yeah. But we were noticing that there's definitely a lot of people that carpool, for one. Number two, I was thinking that I saw HR, Human Resources here.
They do
Frequently.
trips every. Can you even see me on the camera? I'm just like sitting way over here. I just thought about that.
You are still in it. I'll adjust it here a little bit. But it's going.
Sweet.
But-
Yeah, we just had a little camera.
Yeah,
The
camera
camera
glitch.
decided to turn off. It said 30 minutes. You're done. Click. It must be a setting I have in there.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's lots of toys. Don't know how to use them all.
We were talking about the cultural influence. I mean, we get a chance to just talk
Well-
and mingle and learn. We the other day, it was yesterday, we were down at the other end, and the guests are coming out. There's a flow. The guests check out at a certain time,
Yep.
and then or they're heading out to go do their hiking and stuff, and we like being on the grounds because we're right out in the middle of them all.
You're right there with them.
And they come along, and we got to mingle with this couple was
From Australia.
from Australia, and there's big wildfires and stuff going on and all that, and
Yep.
and we had direct conversation with these folks and got the real live feed about what's really going on over there and how bad it is, and I mean, and just I don't know, I love that. I love being able to tap into.
Yep.
And what is it? The J9 program, or the
J1.
J1. Say J9. The J1 program, which hires foreign students.
Yep. It's kind of like a foreign exchange, but there's not people from here going over there. Although I think there probably is a program for that.
Yeah.
Which would actually be kind of cool. I was kind of looking into that a little bit too.
That's
Yeah, I think
about that.
Andrew, who we thought about doing an interview with too, was looking at a job in
England.
England.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
somewhere- Yeah, it's
Yeah, that would
they're
be-
all over, so you can
Yeah.
go into other places. And
I'm looking at going. I was thinking about maybe Thailand, maybe just visiting Thailand for a little while or
there
something.
you go.
Yeah, so we get the J1s in here, which means that we get to live with them, and they get to live with us. So because we were talking about the other day with the EDR, how they discovered there was a couple of I think they're from Thailand, and they discovered that they had these talents with food. They did a couple things.
They've done some Thai days down there. It's not too bad.
Really?
Mhm.
See, and that's cool. But it's like you're really getting firsthand.
Yep.
From Thailand. Yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
I just think that's neat.
Mhm.
You get to learn a lot about where they're from and what they're about. Vice versa.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. And they learn a lot about our culture as well.
Yeah. I love it.
Yes.
I do too.
So, how long you been doing the park thing?
Off and on since 2015.
2015.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're experienced, man. You're
I've
professional.
got a couple of years under my belt.
Can you? So do you feel like? Can you remember back to when you first stepped into this world? I mean, not.
It
not
was.
Not
was
when
a
you were
huge-
born.
not when you were born.
but-
That's a few years
the
ago.
parky world.
I wasn't born in a barn. But
I mean, you're like, how you thought about it and what you know now. Is there anything that you have that's like this is what I wished I'd have known, or
I wish I had done it sooner.
wow,
Because yeah, I wished I would have done it sooner.
wow, that's a powerful statement. Is there anything that you think would be helpful as a takeaway?
Go with your gut. If your gut's telling you to do something, do it.
Feel the pull.
Mhm.
Don't hold back.
Yep.
Life is short.
You can
Exactly.
always go back.
You can always go back.
You can always go back. Yeah.
Yep. You don't.
I don't know too many that do though. I haven't really run into a whole lot of that.
There's some that
That's
the
a
RVers that do, but yeah, the parkies like the parks.
Yeah,
it's a
parkies
good,
like the parks.
Yeah, and like you said, we have some that are in their 70s that are working here, all the way down to, kids that are,
Right at 18. Because
Yeah.
I think you have to be 18 to start
18.
with Santerra.
Okay, that's a good point. 18.
and yeah, so you can be. There's ages for everyone. We see a lot of single moms that raise their kids and
Yep.
feel like they didn't have job experience, but there's a lot of job experience here,
Yep.
and so
There's tons.
so many different
Tons
people.
of things.
But we have our neighbors here. Not both of the. So if you have a family, you can come out one of you can work and one of you
Yep.
can stay home with the kid, or
Yep,
even
exactly.
if your kid's a dog.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
Fur babies.
That's
Yeah.
a good, yeah.
So you don't necessarily both have to work.
Yeah, it's not limited
so-
to
yeah.
a specific
No.
anything.
No.
Yep.
It's-
As long
there's
as at
something
least
for
one of you is
everybody.
working, then you're totally fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a lot of perks. So it sounds good, you guys. I think we
About
Covered
covered
a lot of
it.
bases.
Yeah, I think we did
I did want
good.
to throw one more
Okay.
thing that I just in terms of even finding, because again, we were unaware, and it just so happened through another channel, looking for work as an RVer on the road,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of different avenues that you can pursue, but we discovered there's a website called Coolworks.
Yep. There's tons
.com.
of different websites. There's Craigslist. There's Coolworks. There's Xanterra's website itself.
Right, but I'd never heard of Xanterra,
Mhm.
and so, but that's definitely, if you're interested in Xanterra, going
Yeah.
directly to the source is the way to go. But Coolworks was cool because it has a variety of different. There's some other companies that operate like Xanterra,
Mhm.
like Aramark, I think, is one of them.
Yeah. Aramark.
What's-
Ortega. Delaware North.
There's something resorts, Faithful or
Forever
Forever.
Resorts.
Forever
But
Resort.
that is actually, they're changing their name now to Guest Services something.
Okay.
I don't remember what the name of it is right off the top of my head.
So there's several.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
there's-
if you go to Coolworks,
just go
you
on
can kinda
Google
hit
and you
them.
working in a national park.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You
Google,
can
good
find
old
all
Google. I
kinds of-
should have known that. I felt like I was a Google expert.
I could put that at the end of the video, not the beginning of the video, so people stay and watch the video.
Right. So I don't know. What else can we say?
do
Feel like we
it.
covered a lot of it. Yeah, do
If
it.
if you think you're gonna like it, if you want to be a part of the national parks, no matter
The
what
first
you
step
do.
is always the biggest.
It is.
Exactly. It's the
hardest.
major way of simplifying your life. I mean, you live simply. I mean, you came out here. A lot of people just came out in their car,
Yep.
loaded it up, and here. And
Yeah.
you
2
know,
days later, you're here.
Yep.
Or however far away.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, some of them from far, far away, but
If you have those things pulling at your heart, just do it.
Just do it.
just do it. I think Nike owns that
They do.
particular phrase, so we'll have to come up. Just do it now.
There you go. All right.
I don't have to pay royalties on it.
We'll have to.
So-
We'll have to come up with something.
Right. All right. Well, hey, if nothing else, we just want to thank you so much for tuning in to our channel. We always appreciate having you stop by and check out our feeds. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, or whatever, we would love it if you would just hit the subscribe button. Make sure to turn on those notifications so you'll know when new content comes out. We're always working to try and get stuff up. We do have a website, www.rvroadramblers.com. We've been working on that, and so if you want to check that out, we'd appreciate that as well. Other than that, I
Thanks,
think we're going
Jake.
to wrap it up. Thank
Absolutely.
you, Jake.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
a
pleasure
pleasure.
having you here.
We'll have
Thanks
to
for
do
the
it.
idea.
Definitely have to do this again.
Yeah,
There you go.
keep making it up.
Yep.
All right, so until next time, that's RV Road Ramblers. We're out.
That was awesome.